Good morning. On this bowl of Question Crunch, my friend Rhiannon Roslyn is here to talk about her business, Hags Cottage. That covers tarot card reading, the healing power of crystals, and giving your rising zodiac sign the respect it deserves. So, and like I said, like Angie said, we just dive right into the conversation. So I want to talk about the amazing background that you're in, because I don't think we've ever had anyone walking around in the wild in the podcast. Where are you right now?
I'm in a park right now, but it's like a really like quiet park. I don't know, like they kind of just let things sort of grow how they want. So like right in front of me there's a juniper tree, there's a pear tree over there, and like way down the way there's like an apple tree. It's super cool. Like it's a really cool park.
Now, do you just get the fruit, or what?
You can if you want. Like no one really does anything. Like they really just do kind of let things grow however they want. I've actually been coming to this park since I was probably like 9, and I remember because like my class used to go here for like gym. Like you had to like run because it's a mile total, so you had to like run the mile. And like my classmates and I would like stop and like hide and like eat the fruit, like before our gym teacher would see us, and then we would keep running. So like yeah, it's a fun park.
That sounds pretty awesome, actually. There's a lot of awesome to that story. One, I like the idea of a park where they just let things grow.
Yeah.
That they're just like, let nature do its thing. Nature knows what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm also jealous of a pear tree. I really want a pear tree because I actually just had a pear for breakfast, and I love pears.
Yeah, the pear tree is really cool. The one thing that like I never really knew about pear trees until like I came here, of course, was that they are like a home for like bees of all kinds, like wasps, yellow jackets. Like they live in the pear tree and they love the pears. So like keep that in mind if you ever get a pear tree. Like it will be bee city.
As much as I love bees, I'm not the type to own bees.
Yes. And like it's not just bees, like wasps, like all of those.
I remember I saw a post that said wasps, you can actually train them to trust you, that it determines that it's the position of the wings that you can know if they trust you or not. And if you're cool, they'll be cool. But I am not ever going to put that into practice. It's never going to happen.
No, that sounds like an internet troll, because like they're like, oh, let's see if people actually try to sit here and train wasps, because like that's not for me. No,
yeah,
no.
Right?
No.
It's funny because like you're right. It probably isn't an internet troll trying that, but I'm just like, I'm not gonna be fooled because I really don't like wasps.
Yeah, me neither. Not at all.
At least, I remember I told someone that I don't like wasps because I can't figure out what they're there for, and someone said that wasps fight pests, so that's cool. But I'm like, yeah, but bees have a job. I respect bees.
Yeah, and like bees don't like try to kill me. You know, wasps are aggressive sometimes, like really aggressive. Like I don't like that.
Right?
I do not want to get mugged by a bee. Like I'm not looking to do that.
So, you said you're not gonna get mugged by a bee?
No, they're very aggressive. Like I don't know, the ones here are also super aggressive. So like they will just like seek you out. Like if they decide that they like how you smell, they like what you have, like they will not leave you alone. And obviously they signal to other wasps. So then like before you know it, you got like 6 wasps that are like coming for your life. So it's just like no thank you. Like
I like the idea. I just have the imagination, the image in my head of a wasp coming over. You're like, give me your money.
give me your money, give me everything you got. Give me everything you got.
Which I know it's, wasps can't talk, so it's not going to happen. But yeah. I don't think it's that far from the attitude of a wasp.
No, I agree. Like, I completely agree. Like, if there was ever a bug that was going to mug you, it would definitely be a wasp.
Yeah, that's facts. That's a sign. So, on your Instagram, because I don't remember when, because your name kept coming up as liking my stuff, but I did not know it was your Instagram because I didn't really check. Sometimes if it doesn't have your name present, I can't tell that.
Yeah.
And then one day I scrolled to your Instagram, and I was like, all of this stuff is really gorgeous. I think you curated your Instagram post to be just aesthetically beautiful.
Thank you.
And then I saw you, and I'm like, oh shit, no, I know this person. I have to follow now. But
Yeah.
the color palette that you choose is so rich, it's rich as fuck. I love it.
Thank you. I actually got that color palette. So one of my former students drew my current business card, and there's that thing where you can take I don't know what it is. I guess it's a website where you can just put an image in and it'll show you colors. So that's what I did with the image that they drew, and those were the colors that popped out to me the most. So I was like, brand colors, here we go. But like, it's completely accidental. Like, I had nothing to do with those colors. Like, the artist who drew my business card is entirely like the reason I have them.
But a lot of people don't know that that's a good idea.
I know, I'm sharing trade secrets. Like, everybody keep that to yourself. Don't tell anyone.
I think more people should do that because that's a really easy tool.
It is absolutely an easy tool. And like, I couldn't come up with anything. I didn't know what colors. Like, me as a person, like, I like blues. But I was like, okay, well, while this is my brand, I don't want it to just be colors I like. I want it to be something that speaks to the brand. So non-blues.
I feel like a lot of people don't have that kind of knowledge that certain colors, because like with color theory, certain colors will influence the people looking at your stuff. Yeah. And I feel like the color palette that you use, because okay, some people will say, for example, you said I like the color blue. Me too. Yeah. And that's why my comic strip has a lot of blue. I'm not going to say that I have the knowledge to use a color palette that they suggest that would be better for an audience. Yeah. But you had that knowledge of yourself to realize that you would probably benefit from using this computer's recommendations, which brilliant.
Thank you. Art school had to be good for something. Art school top out, y'all.
And even the name of your Instagram is Hags Cottage, which already gives so many different so much imagery. I had to, when I saw the Hags Cottage, I was like, October's coming up. I really want to draw the Hags Cottage. I think I can keep editing how I drew that, but it's still something that I'm like, I want to draw more Hags Cottages because I like the forest. I like the idea. Yeah. Whenever I see any kind of movie where there's like a cottage or a cabin or a hut, that's just the forest has taken it and owns it now. I love that image.
Yes, same. Absolute same.
And your Instagram and your business is all about, well, not all about, but one element of it is witchcraft, right?
Yes.
Or is it all about? I don't know. I don't want.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It is mostly about witchcraft. It's also about healing and using witchcraft as a tool for healing.
That's said so much better. I always feel like I don't even want to bring up Tim Allen, but on Home Improvement, when his neighbor gives him information and Tim Allen butchers it, that's how I feel. That's how I always feel.
That's really fair. I think we all feel like that when it comes to certain things. Like, I feel like that when it comes to like math. Like, someone will explain something to me, like simple math, and then like I completely butcher it and don't understand what's happening. I feel like we all got that.
Right?
Just in different places.
I feel like there's too many times where I'm like, I'm paraphrasing. The laser shot the like. Here, let me tell you what telescopes are. Basically, they're just glass. Like.
Yeah, they're just glass things that like.
Yeah, it's a glass tube, a glass burrito. What brought you to witchcraft?
So, witchcraft was something I kind of accidentally found. I was very, very young, like single digits, when I started doing what people would consider to be magic, but I didn't really have an understanding of what magic or witchcraft was. So I was kind of just doing my own thing. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, this has a name. This is a thing. So I can't actually really say that. I kind of was just exploring and found something.
Why can't you say that?
So, well, it's more that it's like, because it's hard to explain, I grew up in a very, very like wooded area. Like I'm very, very close. I'm right next to the Pine Barrens, which is like expansive forest. So the house that I grew up in is like dead smack in the middle of the forest that is right next to the Pine Barrens. So completely just surrounded by woods. And I spent a lot of time when I was younger wandering around in the woods. So it's hard for me to explain what it was that kind of led me to, I guess, I don't want to say communing with nature, but I can't really think of any other way to describe it because I don't really know. It just kind of happened.
Why don't you want to say communion with nature? Because I think that that's a pretty good way to describe it.
Because it sounds like it just sounds like some of that like woo woo, like open your third eye by not drinking milk kind of nonsense that people say sometimes. And like I
That's
don't
fair.
really want to push that kind of like narrative, but I did spend a lot of time in nature, and I did commune a lot with like nature spirits. So yeah, I'm gonna say that I communed more with nature spirits. That sounds better.
I think the folks that you were describing have ruined that phrase then, because I think that communion with nature is a good phrase, but
Yeah.
you're right that some people have said it too often.
Yes, and it's like, oh gosh, please stop.
Because I absolutely love walking through the forest. I love the sound of the forest, and just the sights and the smells are fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
What were some instances when you were a kid that you would say was magic before knowing what you were doing?
So when I was younger, I used to I would play games with the forest spirits that I just thought were my imaginary friends at the time. So I would bury something of mine in one spot, or I would hide it in a tree trunk. And when I would come back the next day, there would be something else left there, and not like another toy or something. It would be like an apple from one of the trees that had just like kind of conveniently fallen in there, or like a little bushel of blueberries or something. And like I would kind of play that game, and I would say that the trees were my friends. I would have a lot of spirits that I was friends with, and when I was upset I would go talk to them. And then sometimes I would find like little, I call them presents, like a dragonfly wing or something at the base of a tree that I would spend a lot of my time at. So I guess those are kind of the experiences where I just really let myself like play because I was a kid. Like I don't know what else to do. But yeah, those would be the experiences that would immediately come to mind.
It's funny because like I love the forest. I love this. Like I described how much I love the forest, but
Yeah.
also I don't know. I'm not a fan of hearing sounds without knowing stuff, and so when it comes to night, I like to try to not hear stuff.
That's so fair. That's so fair.
It's not even the forest. Just like wooden houses. When I hear creaking, when I hear too much creaking, I'm like, nah, I'm cool.
That's super valid. Like houses creaking in the middle of the night is very scary. But like if you hear a weird noise in the forest late at night, like you have to make a louder noise back to assert dominance.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. What's a loud noise that you often do?
See, it depends because like there's like this super aggressive bird around me that like it's one bird because like I know, and he like at 5 a.m. like every day like screams at the top of his lungs. So like you have to do a louder noise like a bark at him, and he calms down a little bit. I don't know what type of bird it is. Like I have no clue what this bird looks like, but I imagine it's like one of those like heron things. I don't think they really make noises, but that's what I imagine it because like it's a very loud bird, like a very, very loud bird. And I don't like him. We're not
Uh,
friends.
Good luck with that. Birds are mean.
Birds are me. I'm like, I don't even know where he is. I hear him, I hear him in the mornings. So
Now, I've never been harassed by geese. I've seen videos. I don't. I think when I see geese in the wild, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna leave them alone.
geese are
Let them
so
be.
sweet. I love geese.
Turkeys, I've been harassed by.
That's fair. Turkeys are assholes.
There's a lot of birds. There's a lot of bird assholes. I feel like there's too many bird assholes.
That's true. That's very true.
when I think of all the animal life, I think the only one that I can say is a complete asshole is birds.
No, that's valid. That's pretty fair.
I'd say cats, but I don't know. I feel like cats are on a whole different level. I feel like the rules of the world don't apply to cats.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like all cats, like lions, tigers, like they all kind of do the same stuff. So like I think they're just kind of like that, you know? Like this
Right?
is how they are.
They don't. The rules of the world don't apply to them.
Yeah, exactly.
So where did the idea? Because I mentioned your Instagram, Hags Cottage. Where did that idea come from?
So I am a huge fan of fairy tales, and I always have been. Those were my favorite things to read when I was younger. And one thing that I noticed that always was present in most fairy tales was this idea of this like witch somewhere in the forest who was, you know, wise, who had advice. In some cases, she was a little malicious. In other cases, she was very nurturing. But there was always like an older woman figure that the protagonist could go to for advice or for something like that. And I wanted my business to feel like stepping into that forest and like stepping into a cottage and coming with your problems and leaving with solutions, no matter how strange they may be. So yeah, that's where I got the name.
That is way too damn cool, actually.
Thank you. You know, there's so many people, like when I tell them my business name, like even like my competitor stuff, they're like, oh, that's such a cool name. And they've been like, why didn't I come up with that name? And I'm like, I don't know. How do you want me to answer this? But like that, I hear that all the time. Like people are like, that's such a cool name. I'm so mad you have it. Like trademark pending.
I feel like the issue is that a lot of people don't want, like, the word hag has a lot of negative connotation, but
Yes.
I like the idea of well, okay, this is good because like whenever I see white hair going in my beard, I'm like, yes, I want all of this. I want all of this to be gray or white. I'm cool with that. Just do that.
Yeah.
I love the term hag. It's just a really fun, visually stimulating word, and I feel like too many people want to be pretty. Um, they want it to be glamorous. I love
Yeah.
the idea of the word hag. It's such a good thing, and you're right. It's in a lot of fairy tales, so why not embrace it?
Exactly. You know, and I also have always really resonated with like hag kind of energy. Because there's the idea of like maiden, mother, crone. I always felt like I never had like the maiden kind of era of my life. I definitely have not had the mother era of my life. So I always have resonated, like even when I was younger, I always kind of resonated with that like crone, like old lady kind of energy, basically, where it's like, you know, I've been through some shit. And like so that is the other reason I wanted to include the hag kind of energy.
I think it's perfect. I think when I saw the name Hags Cottage, I was like, this is so cool. I know exactly how you're. What do you call them? Competitors, or did you say peers?
I think I said competitors, and that's what I meant. Definitely meant
Okay,
competitors.
Cool. I would agree with them when I'm just like, oh, that's such a good name, and that's what made me yearn, thirst, hunger. I don't know. I really wanted to draw the Hags Cottage because the name was too good.
Thank you.
So on your Instagram, you also advertise that you do tarot card readings.
I do.
What tarot card is your favorite?
The death card. And it's partially my favorite because everyone, when they get the death card, freaks out. They're like, am I going to die? And I'm like, no. But the death card actually means rebirth and endings. So it has to do with my favorite death card that I ever had was a skull, and there was a poppy that was coming out of the skull to show that like there's still life even after death. So I love that card.
I feel like again with the negative connotation with hag or death.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of cultures are so much better at understanding that death is part of nature versus a lot of the Western cultures where it's like, ooh, it's spooky and scary. It's like,
Yep.
But we all
Yep.
do it. It's the one thing that unifies us all.
Exactly.
And so I feel like if you are more connected or understanding of nature, it should not be that scary.
I agree. I'm going to get in my car super quick because my phone is dying because it's so cold.
Go for it.
Sorry about that.
And no, don't. And I don't want to edit this out because the thing that happens.
Like, I forgot that phones like start to die when it gets cold.
And getting cold as a human.
Yeah. Very cold.
It's like what temperature are you at right now?
It says 43.
Yeah, as a Californian, that's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
That's a disgusting temperature.
I'd rather have 43 than like what did you say it was going to be today?
It's in the 90s.
Nope.
90s are not desirable, but it's better than in the hundreds. I'm okay with the 90s. 90s is a warm day. Whenever I see the a 7, whenever I see we're in the 70s, fantastic. 60s, even better. 50s, hold on, calm down. 40s, no.
The cold is so good though, because like when you're cold, you can put on a blanket. You can go somewhere warm. When it's hot, there's no relief. None.
I agree with that entirely. There's always something that you can do to make yourself warmer. 40s, no thank you. That is way too cold. I've got friends I recently talked on Zoom of people digging out their car of snow.
Yeah.
And someone told me that when I was like, oh no, I don't want to dig out my car, they said, oh, it's worse when you dig out the wrong car. I'm like, that's even dumber.
That is so unfortunate. Like, imagine you put in all this effort and it's not even your car. Like, that's it. I'm done for the day. Like, I'm not going to work. I'm not leaving my house. I'm going back to bed. Like, I'm done.
Right? I would immediately quit. I would be done. I don't think I've ever felt that level of disappointment in my life, which means I'm privileged as fuck. But what I'm saying is that just digging, that would be the worst. Doing hours of work and then looking at it's like, well, I'm going back to bed. Today's done. I'm
literally.
Fuck this.
Literally.
So when did you get into tarot card reading?
So I officially started tarot card reading. Not last year. I'm sorry. In 2018, because I was like, oh, last year, 2018. Do not listen to me. Don't know dates.
The pandemic has made time irrelevant. So last year in 2018.
Yes. So I first started in 2018, and then I was professionally giving tarot readings like a couple of months later because I understood tarot reading like very quickly because of the way that I read tarot cards, and I had been reading oracle cards for, at that point, like I started when I was 11. I started when I was 11. So at that point I'd been reading them for like over 10 years. So I was very comfortable with doing divination, but I had avoided tarot because I didn't like the structure and the rules of tarot. But, you know, it seemed like it was time for me to learn it.
And you said oracle cards?
Yes.
What's the difference?
So tarot is a system. Certain cards are always going to mean the same thing. So like the death card is always going to mean an ending and a new beginning. Whereas oracle cards, you can set any kind of rules that you want. So if you wanted to do, let's say you wanted to do like a Marvel Oracle deck, you could do that, and you could use the Marvel characters, and you can, like, I don't know, you could put like web for Spider-Man to just mean whatever you want. There's no rules when it comes to oracle cards, whereas with tarot there is. So you can kind of do whatever you want.
And you prefer oracle cards over tarot because it is so loose?
Yes, because I found that helped me like kind of train my intuition better, because a lot of people, like when they're reading tarot, they're just reading from the book that like tells you what the meaning is, so they don't ever actually like put any thought into the cards like for real. So I'm glad that I started with oracle cards, because if I had started with tarot, I might not be as good of a reader as I am now.
Nice. All right. That's a Well, from someone who had no idea what oracle cards are, I can dig that. Now, because that you mentioned that the Hags Cottage is where you can go to get information to help you, and you said that it's all a lot of what you do is all about healing.
Yes.
Are there any simple tips or tricks to keep a healthy? And I when I wrote this question, I did not know the terminology to use. I said aura/spirit, and I'm just like, I don't even know what terminology to use.
Yeah, aura's perfect words. So a lot of us have like what I like to call like a gunked up aura, because we don't ever really cleanse ourselves fully from the things that we're doing. So like for example, like if you go to work in an office every day and you don't like any of your coworkers, you don't like your job, when you come home, you're carrying all that heavy energy from that space and those people that you don't like. So a tip to keep yourself kind of clean is like when you come home, the first thing you should do is get out of the clothes that you wore for work that day and just put them in your dirty basket or put them in the laundry, whatever you want to do, and just change into something fresh. And after that, like depending on how intense you like to do it, like some people they like crystals, other people like to take spiritual baths. Because I am someone who I have a lot of other people's energy on me because I'm doing so many readings and stuff. I take spiritual baths, but everybody doesn't have to do that. So like you would be good, people can use crystals like black tourmaline, clear quartz, smoky quartz. Just keeping those on you can help protect your aura from other people and their energy. Evil eyes also can protect you from other people's energy. If you have any mirrors in your house, covering those up outside of like your bathroom one that you need is a good idea to kind of protect your energy. Let's see. Just being mindful, and anytime you spend time with somebody like a friend or a family member where you feel particularly drained, it's really important that you shower or do some kind of cleansing as soon as you're able to just get that heaviness off you and start to feel like yourself again.
What about if you're with family or friends that energize you? Is there anything that you would recommend to harness that shit?
To harness it, yes. So for example, if you're having a really good time, you really love the experience, you can bring clear quartz, because clear quartz is it's like a sponge. So it will suck up whatever kind of energy is around you. So if you want to harness it and keep it, you can wear clear quartz when you're with people that energize you. If you want to remove negative energy, you can also wear clear quartz because it will suck it out. But what you do with the positive energy after you have that is you keep it somewhere where you need it. So if you need it near your work desk, or like you want to put it in like a flower pot or something, whatever you want to do, but keep it somewhere you need it.
Fantastic. I'm glad that you made a list of different stones that you would recommend. If stone is the right, again, terminology, I'm not entirely familiar.
That's okay. Typically people say crystals.
It's amusing because I'm like, as far as aura and spirit, I don't know the terminology, but even simple ones where it's like rock, crystal, or like I'm just no. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the list, because I think that a lot of people would benefit, and they're just like, all right, let me do my shopping list of stuff I can buy to help help life suck less.
Yes.
Is there any kind of like, because I know I've heard a lot of people burn sage. I like that face. That face expression is perfect. Help me understand why you did that.
Okay. So burning sage is an indigenous practice. Especially since this is a whole thing, but the short version of it is smudging, which is typically the term for burning sage, is an indigenous practice. It's a ritual. It's not just burning the sage, it's a very specific ritual that a lot of people will say like, oh, I sell smudge kits or something, and it's like, you don't. Just because it's sage doesn't mean it's a smudge kit. And white sage is a very harsh herb.
Like, it's a very, very harsh herb. I call it spiritual bleach. And just burning sage is not going to fix your situation, because you have to put something on top of it. So, like, think of like saging your room if you just poured bleach on your floor. That's not going to fix everything. Yes, your floor's clean now, but like now your room smells like bleach, and it's not a great time. So you have to put something else on top of that. So like, if let's say you're someone who has a lot of anxiety and you wanted to clean your room, you could burn sage first, sure, to get rid of the negative energy, but then you want something calming over top of it. So you would burn lavender. So now there's like calming energy in your room. So if you're going to burn sage, I would say just burn the herb. It's just called smoke cleansing. That's totally fine. People can do that if they feel called to the herb. But if you have no connection to it, then I would ask people, why do you want to burn it? So like, you live in California, there's like wild sage literally everywhere, so it's a little different for like a Californian to just be burning sage. Like, that's fine. It's outside. It's like literally right there. Like, it's everywhere. So that's different. But like me, I live on the East Coast, and sage does not grow wild here, but I have juniper available to me, cedar, pine, things like that, herbs that I do have a connection to. So if anyone's looking to burn sage to cleanse their energy, ask yourself, do you actually feel connected to that herb, or are you just doing it because everyone else has told you to do it? Because that's what everyone says to do.
So two things. One,
Yes.
that California has sage all over the place, so that means that we're getting cleansing every time we have a wildfire, right?
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, definitely. Like, definitely.
But the second thing is, I'm glad that you clarified that smudging is an indigenous practice.
Yes.
Because, yeah, I see that shit all over Google, and so what it is then is a headdress for Halloween, right? If you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like that, basically. Like, yeah.
Good. I'm glad you clarified on that, because I do see it all over the place, and that is what it is then. That's they Google a way to cleanse, or they see it on TV or movies, and they're like, oh, there's a smudge kit? Like, what the fuck? All right, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. You can only know, a non-indigenous person will only know how to smudge if an indigenous person teaches them. So like, I know how to smudge. I am indigenous. I could teach other people, but at the same time, like, if someone is trusting you enough to teach you this sacred knowledge, maybe don't try to sell it. Maybe keep it to yourself and just don't sell it. Like, just advice for just anybody out there. Just maybe don't sell it. Thank you. The end.
Don't sell it. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, right?
Don't sell a thing, come on. No. What's your gimmick? What's your Everything has to be a side hustle. Come on.
You gotta girl boss your way out of it.
I absolutely hate the idea of whenever I see someone. Okay, at my warehouse, we are selling stuff that says like grind all day, or the grind doesn't stop, and I'm like, no, that's unhealthy.
It is. Like, it's not great. Like, that's not good. Grind culture is toxic. The end.
It's gross. It's horrible. I like the idea of just when you said that you live near the forest. I like the idea of just sitting in the forest somewhere. And I know that sounds really against everything I stand for, because I'm like, oh, I love social media. I love technology. I like being able to watch TV all the time. But I really do like driving out somewhere where I can just hear the wind.
Yeah, same.
I love the beach because I'm just like, I get disconnected and I get to just sit and hear the water. I love being disconnected from time to time.
Same. Absolutely same.
Except when friends say, oh, let's go camping. I'm like, Jimmy, don't you like nature? I do, but I think that me and nature have a nice. I think we need to keep our boundaries. I think.
Keep our boundaries. Respect our boundaries here.
Yeah, me and nature, we're good friends. We don't have to. Which fictional witch? That's fun. That's a fun sentence. Hold on. Which fictional witch? I like that. All right, hold on. I'm getting distracted by my own question. Which fictional witch would you like to get a drink with?
That's a really hard question. So I am gonna have to say, and hopefully I don't get hate for this, Bellatrix Lestrange.
Why would you get hate? Well, okay. my mind already gave me reasons why you would get hate, but I want to know why you would think that you'd get hate.
Well, because she's insane. She's also like a murderer and a torturer and kind of a Nazi because she's a Death Eater. So that's a lot. And like, of course, I do not condone any of that. However, I think she's the most interesting character out of that entire series.
Okay, that's a good that's a good reason.
Yes.
I mean, because I was like, doesn't she not like non-witch folks, muggles?
Yep.
Like,
she does not like anybody who is not a pureblood, and like that's the problem. Like this is a big problem. But I find her interesting, and I like what I noticed because like I don't know what channel it was. They recently had like a Harry Potter marathon where they just like showed every single movie, and I was like, all right, yeah, it's been like a couple years, why not? Let's do this. And I rewatched all of them, and I noticed that she is the only witch who like while she is like really wild and like I guess like fluid in her delivery, she's like one of the few witches who never misses her shots when she's shooting with her wand. She never misses. She also threw a knife at Dobby through a portal. Like she doesn't miss. And I'm like, I love that. Like it's horrible, but I love that. Like I don't know, man. Bellatrix is just really interesting.
I would love to see. Well, we're not going to see it because like I want to see the direction that Helena Bonham Carter got, because I feel like she was given freedom to do a lot of shit.
I agree with that. I also think she got like a lot of freedom. Like she was, I don't know, she was just such a good actress for that like that role. Like I could never imagine anyone else doing that. But that would be really cool to see like what separate direction she kind of got.
Right? Because like I also recently watched all the Harry Potter films, and when they were about to attack Hogwarts, I saw Voldemort coming up to the front, and she's there like laughing and enjoying and walking around like the Death Eaters, and I'm just like, see, she gets all the freedom. All the other Death Eaters are still all cool and proper, but she gets to do whatever she wants.
Yeah, she's just living her best life, following her dreams.
I recently saw, because I think Disney Disney recently posted a photo of the Sanderson sisters in the sequel for Hocus Pocus.
Oh, I forgot that was a thing. Like I feel like I had knowledge that was happening, but like completely blanked on it.
I feel like it's been a rumor forever.
Yeah, that's valid. That's actually very valid. I feel like it has been as well.
And I think that so there's a lot of rumors that happen, but I feel like only Disney has the money to make it happen. And I think if Disney sees too many hashtags, they're like, well, let's just throw some money at it and make it happen and see what the internet.
Basically.
I'm worried because I feel like current Disney focuses too much on being a comedy, that I feel like there'll be a lot of the emotional weight that the first Hocus Pocus has won't be there.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Like also like I don't know, these kids today, they never know, they will never know the joy of watching Hocus Pocus on TV. And like Hocus Pocus was not like it wasn't like a big Halloween movie. At least I remember that. Like you were kind of like, you weren't weird, but like not everybody knew what Hocus Pocus was. Like if you told your friends at school, they'd be like, what's that? And you're like, oh, okay, never mind. Like I had a lot of people like when I was growing up who had no idea what Hocus Pocus was, like had never heard of it. So it's just so strange for me now to see it as like this huge like movie that's like everywhere in stores and stuff. Like that's insane,
I think that's more of that's more telling of the different childhoods, because I remember my Halloween, because it was done by Disney.
Yeah.
Schools felt comfortable showing it during Halloween whenever they're just like done doing their studies and whatnot. I just remember wheeling that big TV,
Yeah.
the TV platform, and be like, "Oh, what are we gonna watch? What are we gonna watch?" And then you hear the music, and it's like, "It's Hocus Pocus."
Yeah, that must definitely be like a different kinds of childhood things. My school did like Scary Godmother, all that stuff, which like Scary Godmother is still one of my favorite Halloween movies. Love it.
I am all about Hocus Pocus, and as I've gotten older, I only like it more. And it's
Yeah.
not because of the movie. It's because of Bette Midler and Kathleen and Jimmy. They both became very strong activists, and if you follow them on Twitter, Bette Midler has no fucks to give. Kathleen and Jimmy is just a really delightful person, so she has more fucks to give. She cares about people. Bette Midler's like, nope.
Yeah, Bette Midler says some problematic things sometimes, and I'm like, oh, Bette Midler, please stop. Just calm down a little bit.
Calm down, just a smudge, just a smidge. just try to be. I think that Catherine and Jimmy is much more understanding to be to avoid problematic phrasing and be cooler and be more widely accessible.
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parker, I'm not entirely certain. I don't even follow her Twitter because I don't see a lot of.
Yeah, that's fair. That's really fair, actually. I honestly sometimes forget Sarah Jessica Parker is in that movie. Like, I know, like, it's Sarah, but, like, I forget she's Sarah. I'm like, just like, yeah, it's Sarah. Then I'm like, no, that's not Sarah Jessica Parker. I gotta remember that.
I know how you feel. But when I came up with the question about like which would you want to drink with, I thought of Mary Sanderson because I love everything about Mary. I love her barking. I love her. There's so much fun with that character, and that's another character. That's another performance I would love to hear the direction, because there's so many small things that are practically irrelevant, and I'm wondering who came up with that.
That's fair. I see, my brain like never thinks to like, hey, I wonder what their direction was, but like now that's the thing I'm gonna think about a lot. It's like, I wonder what direction they were like given, like by the director.
I often think about that because whenever I'm drawing, I'll put like some really weird thing in the place that most people are gonna completely ignore.
Yeah.
Like one of my patrons is represented by a succulent, and I've been drawing them, and I started in October. I drew them in my comic, and most people are going to ignore it because plants are just a natural thing that we see everywhere. But people don't know that particular succulent actually means money. I got paid to draw that.
I got money.
And so I just feel like there's a lot of little things that we take for granted, and I'm just like, but the little things weren't there, are not accidental. They're on purpose in creating art.
Yeah.
So that's something I think about a lot.
Yeah.
Is it helpful to know about our zodiac?
Yes. It actually is very helpful to know about your astrological sign, because so a lot of people are reading their like daily horoscopes incorrectly. You don't want to go by your sun sign, and your sun sign is your major sign. So like I'm an Aries because I was born March 23rd. Everybody has what's called a natal chart, and that basically is a snapshot of the sky the day and moment you were born. So it says where every single planet was, what every single sign it was in, and what single degree it was in. And every planet represents something in your chart. So you want to focus on your rising sign. And your rising sign is that I'm trying to think of how to describe it to someone who's never had like a natal chart done.
Good, I appreciate that, because when I saw you post that you have a rising sign, I'm like, what the fuck is a rising sign now?
I'm trying to think of like the simplest wording. So
good luck.
It's like this. So it's basically from my understanding of how I learned it to explain it to somebody else. It is the sign that was on the horizon when you were born. So For me, I am a Virgo rising, even though I'm an Aries sun. So when I'm looking at my horoscope, instead of looking at the Aries horoscope, I look at the Virgo horoscope, because your rising sign is your day-to-day activities. It's things that are happening for you daily. And everybody can look at their natal chart. You can go to literallyastrology.com, put in your name, your date of birth, and the time you were born. That's the most important part. You have to have the time you were born, and it'll look like a pizza pie. The picture will look like a pizza pie, and it will tell you everything about your chart. It'll say, you have a Libra rising, or your Mercury is in Pisces, etc. And so if you want to look at your daily horoscope, you look at your rising sign. If you want to do your love horoscope, you look at your moon sign and your Venus sign. So like if you just got into a relationship and you want to see what the horoscope is with that, I have a Leo moon, so I would look at the Leo horoscope. And I have an Aries Venus, so I would also look at the Aries one for that too. So yeah, so it's very helpful to know, because sometimes astrology can explain things that you would think it could never explain. There is a method of astrology that is so specific, it can help you find lost objects. Like I have been able to use this method. My friends have been able to use this method. It can help tell you why you have certain things about like your appearance, like how you're going to look. Recently I did a natal chart for somebody for their child, and I was able to give them a pretty accurate description as to how their baby was going to look. So astrology is it's really cool, and it's just very useful to have.
What is it about rising signs that I'm assuming that the rising sign is important because that's where the sun is coming from, that's the warmth of the sun. Am I completely off the charts or what?
You're off, but you're also kind of close. So like I kind of like your explanation for it, because I don't know, it sounds cool. But yeah, so your rising sign is your personality. That is like so your sun sign is your ego. It's you at your best. It's you, how you present to others. But your rising sign is how you like actually are. So for example, like I think you're an Aries too, right?
I hate it when people can guess.
I feel like you're an Aries though, because I think that like we talked about being Aries once. I feel like that happened. But
okay.
So Aries, people think that we're like obnoxious and loud and like crazy, which like, yes, we are a little bit, but they also like just think that all Aries are like that. And it's like, yes, while I can present as a little like aggressive and stuff, I'm actually very organized and very like meticulous when it comes to things, which is not typical of an Aries, because my rising sign is Virgo. So it's important because it also helps you kind of understand yourself a little better, and it kind of shows you not what people think about you, but it gives you like an idea as to how you present in others' eyes, if that makes sense.
I remember when I worked at the movie theater, someone came up and they're like, "You're an Aries, aren't you?" And I was like, "Get out of my head."
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Don't guess correctly around me. How dare you?
Right.
Now, as far as zodiac, we're in Scorpio season, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because like I was looking at the dates and I was like, I remember I didn't know what season we are in, because all I really know is Aries. But I googled it and I saw some websites that were giving me all these different dates and all this different information. So I was like, all right, let's see which websites agree with each other. And I saw Scorpio. I was like, awesome, cool. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm going with.
Yes.
And a new Spider-Man movie is coming out. So my question to you then is, who would be the worst person to play Scorpion in a Spider-Man film? Now we actually have an actor that played the guy who turns into Scorpion. He showed up in Spider-Man Homecoming, but I don't think he's ever going to become Scorpion. We'll see. The relationship between Disney and Sony is very strange. But who would you think would be the worst Scorpion?
I do not know much of the Spider-Mans. I am a Batman girl. I have never been a Spider-Man person, so like.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer because Batman is pretty awesome. So I'm not gonna fight you on that.
Yeah, so like I don't even know. I don't remember a villain named Scorpion. Honestly, I only know like Carnage and Venom and Doctor Octopus. That's it. Oh, and Green Goblin. That's it.
That's all you need to know. You're done.
Yep, that's all I know.
I think you would like to check out Madam Web. She's a witch in the Spider-Man universe that you might want to check out. She's pretty rad. But as far as Scorpion, that's why it's funny because like this is how I worded this question, because if I asked you who would be the best person to play Scorpion, then you might need to know stuff.
Yeah.
But worst person to play Scorpion, you can pick anyone at random.
Betty White.
Betty White.
That's my answer. Betty White. I don't know.
That is such a funny answer. Because you don't have to know anything about Scorpion. Oh, I'm gonna draw Betty White as Scorpion. This is too good. Just seeing her in the armor and the tail is fantastic. Holy shit. Man. And now I'm even like, if I'm because like I said, in Homecoming there was the person that turns into Scorpion, but now I'm putting Betty White in my head. I'm imagining Betty White in those scenes with Michael Keaton, and it's funny.
I mean, honestly, inserting Betty White anywhere makes something more humorous, like anywhere.
That is true. That is true. Because now I'm putting now I want to do that to other movies. I want to Photoshop Betty White in Anaconda, and it's funnier.
Betty White playing Hannibal Lecter. Why not?
Right? When this bowl of the podcast is posted, a new Ghostbusters movie will be coming out. And that got me thinking, because I've seen, okay, so there's this one story arc in Ghostbusters where they go across the U.S. and they experience different cultures. Oh, they actually go around the world too, but they experience different cultures and their reaction to their job, their profession.
Yeah.
Because some cultures do not hate the supernatural. They don't hate ghosts.
Yeah.
So they did not like Ghostbusters because Ghostbusters, all their job is to capture ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that trapping ghosts would be a good idea?
I would have to say no. No, because you never know who that person was and is, so you don't know what kind of energy you are keeping. So that would be why I would say no. It's like you don't know who that is. So, they could be a sweet, nice person or they could be a serial killer, and now they're stuck. And like if they ever get out, like that's a problem. I've seen 13 ghosts, like
Yeah, but they've got a pretty good containment unit. As long as people don't turn it off, they have all the ghosts smashing them in together, so that should be fine, right?
Yeah, no problems.
There's actually one comic book where they get called to a military base, and they're fighting a ghost, and they're about to catch a ghost when Winston being I think he's a Marine, Winston says, "Let's do this differently," or so. I can't remember exactly the plot of the story, but
yeah.
Winston actually helps this military ghost move on instead of haunting.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a really cool story for the Ghostbusters, because, and that's why I love the comic book so much. And I think I've even mentioned the comic book. I do it all. Whenever someone talks about comic books, I usually recommend Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Because they do stuff with the characters that most movies do not do, because the movies want action. The comic books can give more character development.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never read a Ghostbusters comic, but now I will have to do that. I'll have to add it to my comic book list.
I recommend it. They have really cool things where like they go to Italy and they have to readjust their PKE meter because they realize that the U.S. is going to have a completely different set of scales than Europe.
Yeah. That's interesting. I wouldn't even think of that.
Right. I even went to one of their panels to ask them a bunch of questions because I was like, who's the big Ghostbusters nerd? Is it going to be the artist or the writer? And he's like, the writer Eric Burnham. He's like, oh, it's all Dan Shoney, the artist. He's the big Ghostbusters nerd. And I'm like, that's unexpected. Have you seen Ghostbusters?
Like the original?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Are you at all interested in the new one?
I'm gonna have to say no. It just doesn't. You're talking about the one with like the kids, right? Where it's
yeah.
Like, no. It just doesn't look like it's gonna be as good as the original, which I know nothing can be, but like I don't like the idea of like, let's make the kids of this thing now it's interesting, and or grandkids or whatever the hell they're supposed to be. I was also like, grandkids? Movie came out in the 80s. What are we talking about? Like, what do you mean, grandkids? I was so confused. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for it, unfortunately.
I'm not the best judgment because I'm a Ghostbusters fan, like through and through. So they already have my money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how crappy it is. I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. It's understandable.
The thing that I find the most interesting about it is that it's directed by the son of the original director.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
In the second, do you remember in the second one when the Ghostbusters went to a kid's party and a kid insulted them?
I don't think I've ever seen the second Ghostbusters movie.
That's okay. It's not that. I love it, but again, I'm not the best judge.
Yeah.
But the kid who insults the Ghostbusters, he is the director. That kid grew up. He was the son of the director, and now he's the director of this next movie.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cute.
So, I don't know. I'm really interested in this movie. I'm gonna see it in drive-in so I can see it twice. Because I'm that crazy. So the interview is done, but I want you to advertise what websites, what social media, how can people find you to be found? I know you want to be found.
Yes. So the best place to find me is Instagram, because that has all of my links. I am most active on my Patreon, where I teach a lot of classes. I teach a monthly class that is only for my patrons. And then I do teach one class that everybody can take quarterly. So the class for this quarter is coming up in December. I'm going to be focusing on ancestor work and all of that stuff. But yeah, honestly, my Instagram and Patreon are the best place. I have a Discord, but that's also only for Patreon. So yeah, those would be the best places.
And what words of wisdom would you give to someone who wants to use witchcraft or spirituality or something to help them go through life and be healthier?
The first thing I would recommend is not to buy any modern books on witchcraft. I did not read any modern books on witchcraft for many years in my practice. I was completely solitary. I didn't do a coven or anything like that. And doing that allowed me to really solidify my own beliefs and my own practices and to follow the things that inspired me and see where that took me. So my advice would be, don't be afraid to be curious. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and don't be afraid to do something that nobody else is doing. And if what you're doing is not written about, that's okay. It's still valid.